After my fated mate, Liam, postponed our marking ceremony for the 99th time, I saw him on the PAX evening news broadcast. He was with Clara at the temple of the moon goddess, helping her choose precious moonstones. The look on his face was a gentle one I'd never seen before. My heart turned to ash. In my despair, I immediately accepted Alpha Fabian's courtship. He wooed me at his lavish estate, promising me the grandest marking ceremony of all. I started to believe the moon goddess had made a mistake, that Fabian was my true mate, until I walked in on him in his study, plotting with a witch. On our marking night, he was going to steal my wolf soul and give it to Clara. And to make sure I could never interfere with Clara and Liam's bond, he planned to keep me his prisoner forever. I fled back to my room, sobbing uncontrollably. Then, with a trembling hand, I called the apothecary. I need your strongest potion to end a pregnancy, as soon as possible. Right before my marking ceremony, I discovered my mate, Fabian, was working with a witch to steal my wolf soul and give it to his first love, Omega Clara Swain. A potion to expel a pup? In the back alley apothecary, the shop's owner looked up, his cloudy eyes fixed on me. Are you sure about this, little one? I'm sure. He set down a test tube. Once you take this, your child will be gone. My hands clenched into fists. I said, I'm sure. You need the strongest kind? Yes. The apothecary pulled a vial from his safe. $50,000. My hand was shaking as I swiped my card. Not from fear, but from rage. In Fabian and Clara's grand plan, my child was just an unexpected problem. If that was all my child was to them, then I wouldn't let it become a liability in my quest for revenge. Regina! I spun around. Fabian was standing in the doorway, his handsome face etched with concern. What are you doing in a place like this? I quickly shoved the vial into my purse. Just passing by. He walked toward me, his eyes flicking to the shop sign. It's not safe here. Come with me. No, thank you. Regina, I know I was distant last night. He took my hand, his gaze full of devotion. I've been buried in work, and I wasn't fair to you. Forgive me, such a good actor. To make it up to you, I got you a gift. He pulled a beautiful moonstone from his pocket. It's a fragment of our PAX sacred stone, engraved with our unique mark. I thought back on all his grand romantic gestures. He'd filled the estate gardens with my favorite roses. He'd set off the biggest firework display for me by the river. He made sure I ate the most nutritious food and did the most beneficial exercises. He even meticulously planned my sleep schedule. Back then, I thought it was love. Now I knew the truth. He was just fattening a lamb for the slaughter, treating me like prized livestock, a pig with a powerful wolf soul. Thanks, I said, my voice cold as I took the moonstone. What's wrong? He frowned. You don't seem happy. I want to break our bond. The air froze. Fabian's expression went stiff. What? You heard me? I said, looking him straight in the eye. We're not a good match. Regina, are you joking? His voice was a little sharp. The marking ceremony is tomorrow. The Luna's shawl. I cut in. Did you give it to Clara? He blinked. What shawl? Don't play dumb, I sneered. The moon-white shawl that symbolizes the Luna's status. You said you were having it prepared especially for me. So what happened? Well, Clara is very fragile. She needs the moonlight to soothe her. So you gave the shawl that was meant for me to her? I just lent it to her, he explained frantically. She'll give it back as soon as she's feeling better. A lie. Clara never gave anything back. She just took everything that was mine. The next second, Fabian's eyes darted away. He was receiving a mind link from Clara. He glanced at me before turning his head slightly to respond. What is it? What? You're not feeling well again? Okay. I'm on my way. He broke the link and looked at me apologetically. Regina, Clara just fainted. I need to go, I said, turning to leave. Wait. He ran after me. Tonight's ceremony is still on. I love you, Regina. Only you. I didn't look back. When I got home, I inspected the moonstone. In the moonlight, tiny runes appeared on its surface. It wasn't some unique mark for us. It was the witch's spell, the one she'd used to strip me of my wolf soul. And it was engraved with 2 initials, C.W. Clara White. This stone was always meant for her. I walked into my bedroom and looked at all the gifts Fabian had given me. Necklaces, rings, bracelets, perfumes. Every single one was so thoughtful. Every single one was meant to nourish my wolf soul. I packed them all into a box. I wrapped it beautifully and sent it to Clara, with a note attached, returning what's rightfully yours. Late that night, I drove up to the sacred mountain to clear my head. From a distance, I saw 2 figures embracing beneath the statue of the moon goddess, Fabian and Clara. She was wearing my Luna shawl, glittering in the moonlight. He was kissing her forehead with a tenderness I'd never known. I pulled out my phone and quietly started recording. "How touching," I said softly. Fabian's head snapped around, his eyes locking on me. He wasn't panicked. He wasn't guilty. Instead, his gaze turned to ice. "Regina, are you spying on me?" His voice carried the weight of an alpha's command. "We haven't even completed the final marking, and you can't give me any privacy?" "Regina!" Clara burst into tears, her voice trembling. "Why are you doing this to me?" I stared at her coldly. "Doing what to you? You know Fabian and I grew up together. You're jealous of our friendship, so you're trying to drive a wedge between us." Tears streamed down her perfect, doll-like face. "I'm just not well, and I need a friend to look after me. Why do you have to be so cruel?" I almost laughed. "You're wearing my Luna shawl and cuddling up to my fiancé, and you call that friendship? It's just because the moonlight helps with my illness," Clara sobbed. "Fabian was just being kind and lent it to me. I didn't think you'd misunderstand." "Misunderstand?" I held up my phone. "Is this video a misunderstanding too?" Fabian finally spoke. "That's enough, Regina. Clara's right. You've gone too far." I turned to leave. Wasting another word on these 2 scumbags was pointless. But as I reached the edge of the territory, a powerful alpha presence slammed into me. The force knocked me to my knees, and I coughed up a mouthful of blood. "Liam!" I looked up to see my former mate standing a short distance away, his eyes like ice. "Look what you've done," he said, holding up his phone. "Look what you posted on PacNet." The screen glowed, showing a private PacNet account. The account name, Regina and Fabian's Love Nest. It was filled with intimate pictures of Fabian and Clara, hugging, kissing, and even more private scenes. "I didn't post this." I scrambled to my feet, shocked. "Besides you and Fabian, no one knows this account exists." Liam's voice was frigid. "You used dark magic to fake these images just to slander Clara? You're bullying her because she doesn't have a wolf soul and can't even register for PacNet." I understood in an instant. This was a trap set by Fabian and the witch. Only he knew the password to our private account. "Liam, just listen to me." "Enough!" He cut me off. "I can't believe you were ever my fated mate. Thank the goddess I rejected you. A vicious she-wolf like you doesn't deserve Clara's perfection." Footsteps rushed up behind me. Fabian had arrived with Clara. The moment Clara saw the images on the phone, she covered her face in horror. "Oh God! Regina, how could you? These are all fake." "Liam, calm down," Fabian said, walking over with a heavy expression. "I know these pictures are hard to look at, but Regina, she just loves me too much. That's why she did this." "Loves you too much?" Liam's eyes burned with fury. "She used dark magic to frame an innocent person." "I understand your anger," Fabian sighed. "But for my sake, please forgive her this once. I'll handle her." "Handle me?" Couldn't believe my ears. "Fabian, please don't cover for her," Clara cried, her tears a waterfall. "This isn't the first time she's targeted me. I'm so scared." "It won't happen again," Fabian said, turning to me. He stroked my cheek, a gesture that looked like comfort to others, but felt like a warning to me. "Right, Regina?" Liam snorted. "If it weren't for Fabian, I would have already reported this to the Wolf Council. He turned to leave, throwing one last sentence over his shoulder. Regina, you make me sick. I returned home, heartbroken, to find my father waiting for me in the living room. My father's expression was thunderous. Kneel. I didn't move. I said kneel, he roared. Do you have any idea how your foolishness is going to destroy this family? What foolishness? Don't play dumb. Liam already told me everything. My father's eyes were filled with disappointment. You used dark magic to frame Clara. If the Wolf Council hears about this, our entire family will be exiled. I didn't. You dare deny it? My father raised his hand. Today, I'll teach you the lesson your mother is no longer here to give you. But a strong hand caught his wrist before the slap could land. Please stop, Fabian said, standing in front of me. She already knows she was wrong. My father froze. Fabian, I'll handle this. Fabian turned to me, his gaze full of love. Regina only did these things because she loves me so deeply. I can forgive her. Tears of gratitude welled in my father's eyes, his anger replaced by relief. Fabian, you are such a good man. Regina is truly blessed to have you. She is my mate. Of course, I have to protect her, Fabian said, taking my hand. The marking ceremony will proceed as planned tonight. My father nodded eagerly. Yes, of course. I'll go get everything ready. Once my father left, it was just Fabian and me. I yanked my hand away. Aren't you tired of acting? What? Playing the loving, forgiving, perfect mate for everyone. I sneered. Doesn't it get exhausting? Fabian was silent for a moment. Then he closed the distance and pulled me into his arms. Regina, I truly do love you, he whispered. Clara is just a friend. I have no other feelings for her. Tonight's ceremony will be perfect. I will mark you before the entire pack and make you the most revered Luna in our history. He didn't mention Clara at all, just repeated how much he loved me. My heart sank even further. Everyone saw Fabian as the perfect alpha mate. No one knew he was doing all this just to steal my wolf soul. The next morning, I drank the dark potion in one gulp. The dark blue liquid slid down my throat, carrying an icy chill. Instantly, a tearing pain ripped through my abdomen. I could feel the spiritual bond with the pup in my womb snapping, thread by thread, like someone was ripping a hole right through my soul. But I clenched my jaw and made no sound. Tears, however, streamed down my face uncontrollably. Forgive me, little one. You don't deserve to be a sacrifice in this filthy game. I collapsed onto the floor in agony, my thoughts broken only by a frantic knocking at the door. I opened it to find Clara, her eyes red and swollen, her hair a mess. This is all your fault. All of it, she shrieked hysterically. What is? Liam saw me and Fabian together. Her voice was shrill. He said he's cutting all ties with me, forever. I nearly laughed out loud. Isn't that the result you wanted? What? You were seducing my fiancé while stringing along your first love. I stared at her coldly. Now that your game has blown up in your face, you're blaming me? I wasn't seducing Fabian, Clara screamed. It was you. You used some kind of dark magic to make him obsessed with you. Then you set it up for Liam to see us. Her logic was hilariously twisted. Clara, are you insane? Shut up. She lunged at me, clawing at my face. I'm going to rip you apart. My wolf roared. The sheer force of my presence threw Clara against the wall, and she crumpled to the floor. Ah! She cried out, a trickle of blood at the corner of her mouth. Regina! Fabian and Liam burst in. Their faces went rigid when they saw Clara on the ground. What are you doing? Liam rushed over to help her up. She's just an omega with no wolf soul. She attacked me first, I said calmly. Liar! Clara wailed even louder. I just wanted to talk to her, and she used her alpha power on me. Regina, you've gone too far. Liam roared. Clara is defenseless, and you used your presence against her. I was just protecting myself. Protecting yourself? Fabian walked over, his face a mask of disappointment. Clara's power isn't even a tenth of yours. What did you need protection from? They had their story straight. No matter what I said, it would be twisted into another crime. And from what I've heard, Liam's gaze grew colder. The only reason Clara and Fabian were seen together is because you used an enchantment to control Fabian in the first place. Enchantment magic? That was a much more serious accusation. Yes, Clara immediately played along. Fabian told me you put a potion in his food to control his mind. Then you deliberately set me up. To meet him there so Liam would find us. I looked at Fabian. He avoided my gaze, but he nodded. Regina did do something to me, he said, his voice laced with pain. I hate to admit it, but she used some method to cloud my judgment. Lies. All of it a complete and utter lie. Your storytelling skills are truly impressive, I said, clapping slowly. You should write novels. Still denying it. Liam raged. Regina, you're a lost cause. No, she's just sick, Fabian said, stepping toward me with a look of pity. Regina, I know you love me so much that you're not thinking straight. I don't blame you. He took off his own cloak and gently draped it over my shoulders. Tonight's marking ceremony is not cancelled, he declared in front of Liam and Clara, gazing at me with deep affection. I will give you the grandest, most unforgettable ceremony. Clara faltered, a flicker of panic in her eyes before she quickly composed herself. Fabian, are you sure? She asked carefully. Regina just attacked me. Maybe you two need some time to cool down. I love Regina. Fabian cut her off. No matter what she's done, I'll forgive her and protect her. Clara bit her lip, her eyes flashing with hurt, but she quickly smoothed her expression and said softly, I understand. Fabian, you're a good man. She turned to me, her voice trembling. Regina, I hope you appreciate him. Not every alpha is this forgiving. With that, she moved to Liam's side, a sob in her voice. Liam, let's just go. Don't want to be a bother to anyone. Seeing Clara looking so fragile, Liam's anger flared. Clara, you're too good, he said, glaring at me. Some people don't deserve your kindness. Liam, please don't say that about Regina, Clara said, pulling on his arm. Maybe she just loves Fabian so much that she acted out. I can understand that feeling. Her performance was flawless. She played the part of the magnanimous victim, subtly painting me as the villain while reinforcing her reliance on Liam. Clara, you're too good, Liam said, his voice full of pity. Someone as pure as you shouldn't have to put up with this. As long as you believe me, that's enough, Clara murmured, leaning against his chest. Let's go. We shouldn't disturb them. Liam snorted, shooting me one last cold glare before leaving. Regina, you better pray Fabian never snaps out of it. Because the moment he's free of your control, you're finished. The room was empty except for Fabian and me. He closed the door, his face still arranged in that sickeningly devoted expression. My love, be on time tonight. He stepped forward and pulled me into a tight hug. The sacred fire circle is ready. I can't wait for our marking ceremony. A cold smile touched my lips as I returned his embrace. Good. I'll be sure to give you exactly what you want. Let's see if you're still smiling when you see the surprise I have waiting for you at the ceremony. Fabian's POV. On the day of the marking ceremony, Regina was gone. Fabian stood at the door to the bridal suite, his expression dark. Why isn't she here yet? Clara bit her lip nervously. Maybe she got scared? Fabian walked over and stroked her cheek. Don't worry, my love. Nothing will stop you from getting what you deserve. But if Regina doesn't come, she'll come, he said, kissing her forehead gently. She loves me too much to miss our marking ceremony. The hooded witch stepped out from the shadows. The ritual circle has been consecrated, Alpha. The moment she steps onto the ceremony grounds, there's no escape. Fabian nodded. Are you sure it will work? Of course, the witch sneered. The continent's most powerful moonlight wolf soul will soon be Miss Swain's. A greedy light flashed in Clara's eyes. Then I'll finally have real power. Not just power, Fabian said, pulling her into his arms. You'll be the most powerful Luna, my queen. Night fell, and the ceremony site was aglow with brilliant lights. Hundreds of noble werewolves had gathered at the sacred altar, all waiting for the marking ceremony of the century. Fabian stood at the center of the altar in a magnificent suit, the very picture of a powerful alpha. Breathtakingly handsome. Everyone, he said, raising his glass, his voice echoing through the venue. Thank you for being here to witness the sacred union between myself and Regina. Thunderous applause. Clara sat in the front row of the VIP section, dressed in a beautiful evening gown, and expectant. Smile on her face. Where's Regina? Someone asked. She's just making her final preparations, Fabian said, his voice full of affection. You know how she-wolves always need a little more time to get ready. The guests chuckled good-naturedly. Suddenly, the enormous moonstone at the center of the altar began to flicker. A strange light grew brighter and brighter, and the entire venue fell silent. What's this? Someone murmured. Then, an image appeared. The surface of the moonstone acted like a giant screen, playing a crystal-clear video. Fabian and Clara, kissing under the sacred mountain, their actions deeply intimate. An uproar swept through the venue. Oh my God, that's not Regina. The video continued. Clara, wearing Regina's Luna shawl, nestled in Fabian's arms, both of their faces alight with pleasure. Then voices could be heard. Is the sacred fire circle ready? Fabian's voice. Once she enters the circle, I can strip her of her wolf soul while she's unconscious. The witch's voice. Remember, the soul must be transferred to Clara, whole and intact. It's her lifelong dream. The most powerful moonlight wolf soul in North America is more than enough to give that Omega top-tier power. After tomorrow, Regina will be a broken wolf, but I'll lovingly care for her for the rest of her life. She can never be allowed to ruin Clara's happiness. The entire venue exploded. Impossible! Fabian is trying to kill Regina. They're in on it together. Look, there really is a witch in the sacred fire circle. The guests pointed toward the back of the altar, where a black-robed woman was, indeed, trying to flee. Clara's face went white. She tried to stand, but found herself frozen in her seat by an invisible force. Regina's father rose from the VIP section, his face ashen with rage. Fabian Morris, he bellowed, his voice deafening. How dare you plot against my daughter? This is a fake. Fabian denied frantically. Someone is framing us. He rushed toward the moonstone, trying to destroy the evidence. But the moment his hand touched the stone, he was thrown back by a powerful force. Don't waste your energy. A clear voice echoed through the hall, seemingly from nowhere. Is that Regina's voice? Someone wondered. Regina? Where are you? Fabian looked around wildly. I'm somewhere you'll never find me. Regina's voice was filled with ice. A safe place. A new image appeared on the moonstone. In a high-tech control room, Regina sat before a wall of screens, calmly orchestrating everything. Surprised, Fabian? Her voice continued. Surprised I didn't walk into your death trap like a fool? Regina, you've misunderstood. Misunderstood? Regina laughed coldly. I collected all this audio and video myself, including the conversation you all just had in the bridal suite. More clips played on the screen. Fabian kissing Clara's forehead, calling her my love, promising to make her the most powerful Luna. The scene erupted. Liar! They were together all along. That bitch Clara. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce tonight's true guest of honor. Regina's voice was as sharp as a knife. The witch hiding in the sacred fire circle was hired by Fabian for a hefty price. Her mission was to strip me of my wolf soul during the ceremony. The black-robed woman tried to run, only to find the entire venue sealed by a barrier. And Miss Swain, sitting in the front row, was to be the final recipient of that soul. All eyes turned to Clara. She was slumped in her chair, ashen-faced and trembling uncontrollably. Regina, let me explain. Fabian was still trying. Explain what? Regina's voice grew colder. Explain how you courted me for 2 years. Just for tonight's harvest? Explain how you told me you loved me while planning my death with Clara. Just then, pack enforcers stormed the venue. The lead enforcer announced loudly, "We received an anonymous tip that someone was conspiring with a witch to use forbidden dark magic to harm a fellow pack member." They quickly surrounded the altar. "Fabian Morris," the enforcer said, holding up a warrant. "You are accused of conspiring with a witch, premeditated use of forbidden dark magic, and attempted harm against a fellow werewolf. You are under arrest." "No, this is a setup." Fabian struggled wildly. "Regina, you planned this, didn't you?" "I'm the one who reported you," Regina admitted calmly. "I submitted all the evidence to the Wolf Council last night." The enforcers slapped silver cuffs on both Fabian and the witch, specially designed to suppress a werewolf's power. Clara was also taken into custody as an accomplice. "Regina!" Fabian screamed as he was dragged away. "You think you've won? Without me, you're nothing." The image on the moonstone switched, showing Regina rising elegantly from her chair in the control room. "This concludes tonight's ceremony." Her voice echoed one last time through the hall. "Thank you all for witnessing a perfect trial." Regina's POV. 30,000 feet in the air. The private jet flew smoothly toward Europe. I sat by the window, holding the ring that symbolized my mate bond with Fabian. With a slow, deliberate squeeze, the ring broke in two. Like my past, it was gone for good. The pilot's voice came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are now crossing the Atlantic Ocean." Perfect. Not only had I escaped a death trap, but I had utterly destroyed my enemies. And most importantly, I did it all without getting my hands dirty. As for Fabian, the Wolf Council would deliver his judgment. 3 days later, the trial began. In the solemn council hall, 12 elders sat on a high platform, looking down at the accused. Fabian was chained to a chair with silver restraints, his face pale, his former handsomeness gone. The witch had already confessed to everything. Now it was Clara's turn to testify. "Please state your relationship with the defendant, Fabian Morris," the head elder asked. Clara, dressed in a simple white dress, looked pitiful and frail, her eyes red and swollen. "We were friends. We grew up together," she said weakly. "But I knew nothing about his plans." "Nothing?" The elder frowned. "The evidence shows you were to be the final recipient of the wolf soul. That was his decision." Clara immediately distanced herself. "I never asked him to do anything for me." "Liar!" Fabian shot to his feet, the silver chains scraping loudly. "Clara, you were the one who cried and begged me to help you get a wolf soul." "I did not," Clara screamed. "I never said such a thing. Have you forgotten?" Fabian's eyes burned with rage. "You said a life without a wolf soul was meaningless. You said you'd rather die than be a useless Omega. That was just me complaining." Clara cried even harder. "I never told you to hurt Regina." "Complaining," Fabian sneered. "You also said that if I truly loved you, I would find a way to give you power." An uproar went through the trial chamber. "Did you hear that? That she-wolf, Clara. She's in on it. They were accomplices." The head elder slammed his gavel. "Silence." Clara's expression changed in an instant. Her tears stopped, and her voice became shrill. "Fabian Morris, are you trying to drag me down with you?" she shrieked, pointing at him. "You're the one who pursued me. You're the one who said you'd do anything for me. I did nothing wrong." "Nothing wrong." Fabian completely lost it. Who was it that kept whispering things to tempt me? Who was it that planted the idea in my head to be jealous of Regina's power? "That's because you're a petty, small-minded man." "Me, small-minded?" Fabian struggled, trying to lunge at her. "Clara, why else would I have ruined my own life if not for you?" Their argument grew more intense, exposing their true colors to everyone. Just then, The doors to the chamber were pushed open. Liam walked in. His face was terrifyingly grim, his eyes devoid of any warmth. Liam! Clara saw him and immediately reverted to her fragile persona. You're here. You have to testify for me. Tell them I'm innocent. Liam looked at her and was silent for a long moment. Innocent. His voice was like ice. Clara, I've heard enough of your conversation. What do you mean? The recording from the ceremony, I finally understand. Liam walked to the witness stand. Regina was the victim from the very beginning. And you 2-inch, he looked at Fabian and Clara. His eyes filled with disgust. You are a pair of shameless traitors. Clara's face turned to ash. Liam, you can't say that about me. We've known each other since... Since when? Liam cut her off. Since you were a selfish little liar? He turned to the elders. Honorable elders, I wish to add my testimony. Proceed. Clara White was indeed part of this conspiracy, Liam said, each word like a nail. She complained to me multiple times about Regina's power, suggesting that Fabian should do something about it. You're lying, Clara shrieked hysterically. I also have a recording. Liam produced a small recording device. In Clara's own words. He played it, and Clara's voice filled the chamber, clear as day. Liam, what do you think it would be like if I had a wolf soul like Regina's? Fabian loves me so much. I'm sure he can't bear to see me suffer like this. Some things aren't a crime as long as no one finds out. A dead silence fell over the hall. Everyone stared at Clara, their eyes filled with revulsion. Take her away, the head elder roared. Clara White is an accomplice and will be tried as such. Enforcers rushed forward and slapped silver cuffs on Clara. No! She struggled wildly. I'm a victim. I didn't do anything. Shut up. Fabian watched her get dragged away. Only despair left in his heart. Clara, you've ruined everything. 3 days later, the verdict was in. The witch was sentenced to life imprisonment in the werewolf forbidden lands. Clara was cast out as a rogue, forever banished from all werewolf territories. Fabian, thanks to his family's influence, was merely stripped of his status as Pack Alpha. But for him, it was a fate worse than death. Fabian stumbled out of the courthouse a broken wolf. His hair was unkempt, his eyes were hollow. He looked like a walking corpse. He went back to the home he had once shared with Regina. The moment he pushed open the door, he broke. Everything that belonged to Regina was gone. The closet was empty, the vanity was bare, and even their photos together had vanished. The house was filled with nothing but cold furniture, completely devoid of life. On the dining room table sat 2 items, a pregnancy report, which read, Pup's vital signs, non-existent, and a mate bond dissolution certificate, officially ending his and Regina's bond. Fabian picked up the pregnancy report, his hand trembling. A pup, his voice broke. Our pup, he finally understood why Regina had avoided his eyes that day at the black market. He'd been so obsessed with Clara, he never once considered that Regina might be carrying his child. And Regina, to get her revenge, had gotten rid of the pup herself. He hadn't just lost Regina, he had lost his own bloodline. Regina, he fell to his knees, letting out a guttural, animalistic howl. What have I done? But it was too late. Regina was already 3,000 miles away, and she was never looking back. 3 months after the trial, Fabian had lost everything. His alpha title was gone, and leadership of the pack had been transferred to his cousin, Marcus. At the family meeting, his father looked at him coldly. As of today, you are no longer the heir to this family. Father, shut up, his father roared. You've brought enough shame upon this family. The elders shook their heads, their eyes full of disappointment. For the sake of blood ties, his father said, tossing a file at him. You can keep the villa on the outskirts of town and the assets in your name, but you are forbidden from ever appearing in public as an heir to the Morris family. Fabian took the file, his hands shaking. After that day, the huge villa was empty except for him. All the servants were dismissed, His friends avoided him like the plague, and even Clara had left him a letter before her exile. Fabian, this is all your fault. If you hadn't been so evil as to try and hurt Regina, I would have had my happiness by now. That bitch. Still trying to blame him even now. The doorbell rang. His mother walked in. Fabian, you've lost weight, she said, looking at her son with a pained expression. I brought you some soup. She was the only person who had shown him any concern in 3 months. Thanks, Mom. My child, let the past be the past, she said, sitting beside him. I've already found a few nice she-wolves for you. You can have a new mate. No, Fabian cut her off. I only want Regina. His mother sighed. She's not coming back, Fabian. You hurt her too deeply. She will, he said stubbornly. As soon as I find her and explain everything, she'll forgive me. Son, you're lying to yourself. No. Fabian stood up. Regina loves me. I know she still loves me. His mother looked at him, her eyes filled with sorrow. Fabian, you've lost your mind. The next day, Fabian drove to Regina's family home. The Moonpack guards stopped him at the gate. Sorry, Mr. Morris. The Alpha said he won't see you. I just want to know where Regina is. Please leave. Fabian tried to force his way in but was blocked by the guards. Let me see her father. I'm begging you. Just then, Regina's father appeared at a second-story window. He looked down at Fabian, his voice carrying through the glass. Fabian Morris, you have the nerve to show your face here? Uncle, I know I was wrong. I want to find Regina. Find her? The old Alpha sneered. Do you think you're worthy of her? I am. I love her. Love. His voice was full of rage. You almost killed her. You killed her child. Fabian fell to his knees. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to her. Get out, the old Alpha roared. And never show your face here again. My daughter is doing just fine now, and she doesn't need a demon like you ruining her life. The window slammed shut. Fabian knelt in the snow outside the gate until darkness fell. His legs were swollen and numb when his mother's guards found him collapsed on the ground and took him home. Back at the villa, Fabian made a decision. He would sell it and use all the money to find Regina. A week later, the villa was sold for a fraction of its market price. He moved into a rundown studio apartment in the city and used the remaining money to hire the best werewolf private investigator in North America. Finding people isn't cheap, Mr. Morris, the PI Leo said, smoking a cigar. Especially a werewolf who's deliberately trying to hide their tracks. Money is no object, Fabian said, pushing a check across the desk. I need to know everything about Regina. Deal. The wait was long and agonizing. Fabian lived in the tiny, squalid apartment, praying every day for news of Regina. The walls were covered with her photos, and a picture of them together sat on his desk. He stared at them over and over, drowning in regret. If he could turn back time, he never would have made that choice. A month later, Fabian went back to the PI's office. At the entrance, he saw a familiar figure. Liam. He was here too. Their eyes met, and the air crackled with tension. You're looking for Regina too? Liam sneered. It's none of your business. None of my business? Liam stepped closer. She's my fated mate. Your former fated mate, Fabian corrected him. She has nothing to do with you anymore. And she has something to do with you? Liam's voice dripped with sarcasm. The bastard who tried to kill her? I wasn't trying to kill her. No. Liam grabbed him by the collar. Then what was the sacred fire circle? What was stripping her wolf soul? That was for Clara? For Clara? Liam punched him in the face. You were going to kill Regina for that bitch. And now you have the nerve to look for her? Fabian fought back, landing a punch of his own. At least I didn't abandon her 99 times. The two of them started brawling, trading heavy blows. You traitor! You coward! Regina will never forgive you. She'll never go back to you either. They fought in the street, drawing a crowd of onlookers. Apart only after both of them were bloodied and bruised. Fabian Morris. Liam wiped the blood from his mouth with his sleeve. You have no right to look for her. Neither do you, Fabian roared back. Dragging his exhausted body back to the rundown apartment, Fabian collapsed onto the sofa. The man in the mirror was a wreck, his face black and blue. His phone rang. It was the investigator. Mr. Morris, I've got something. He sat up instantly. What is it? Regina is in Paris. I'm sending you some photos. A few seconds later, several pictures arrived on his phone. The first, Regina sitting in a Parisian cafe, laughing with a handsome French man. The second, Regina in a design studio, concentrating on her work, a peaceful smile on her face that Fabian had never seen before. The third, Regina in an elegant evening gown at a charity gala, surrounded by European werewolf aristocrats. In every photo, she was so beautiful, so radiant. Most importantly, she looked happy. Happier than she had ever been with him. Fabian's hands began to tremble. Liam's words echoed in his ears. You have no right to look for her. You almost killed her. He was right. He had no right. Even though he had been prepared to spend his life with Regina. But he had almost killed her. She had lost their child because of him. He had destroyed her life. What right did he have to disturb her now? But just to see her one more time, he would spend his entire life atoning. Regina. Fabian clutched his head, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. I miss you so much. Regina's POV. On a rainy night in Paris, the Champs-Élysées glittered with lights. I pushed open the door to the cafe, and the rich aroma of coffee washed over me. Regina? A voice with a French accent called out. Lucien de Rothschild stood up and gracefully extended his hand. He was Europe's most famous werewolf artist and my new business partner. Was your flight smooth? He asked, pulling out a chair for me. It was fine, I said, sitting down. How are the preparations for the design studio coming along? Perfectly. Lucien's eyes shone with excitement. The nobles of Paris are all waiting to see your work. I heard you have a moonlight wolf soul. I do, I said, picking up my coffee. But now it serves only me. Only you, he said thoughtfully. You mean it no longer exists for a certain alpha? Precisely, I smiled lightly. The power of a wolf soul should be used to realize one's own value, not to be a tool for someone else. Lucien nodded in appreciation. Indeed, true power comes from inner independence. Your wolf soul must have grown even stronger with this realization. I had joined Lucien's design studio. In just 3 months, we had already made a name for ourselves in the Parisian art district. We specialized in designing jewelry and clothing for Europe's werewolf aristocracy, blending the wild spirit of American werewolves with European elegance. The power of my moonlight wolf soul gave my creations a unique charm, each piece radiating a pure and powerful energy. Miss Moon, you have a visitor. My assistant Anna said, knocking on the door. Who is it? A gentleman from America. He says he's a friend of yours. I looked up and saw a familiar figure through the floor-to-ceiling window. Liam. He was standing across the street, impeccably dressed in a suit, but his eyes were full of exhaustion. He had lost a lot of weight. I nodded at my assistant. Let him in. You're doing well, Liam said, looking around my studio. Better than I imagined. Are you surprised? I didn't look up, continuing to work on the design in front of me. I thought without the protection of a pack, you would be struggling. Why would I be struggling? I put down my pen and looked at him. Because I lost the chance to be some alpha's Luna? Liam fell silent. Liam, why are you here? I came to apologize, he said, taking a few steps closer. For everything I did. Oh, I was wrong, Regina. His voice was pained. Clara deceived me. She deceived everyone. She was never the fragile Omega who needed protection. And I've cut all ties with her. Liam took a deep breath. I want to start over. With you. I laughed. Start over. Yes. Hope flared in his eyes. We're fated mates. Your moonlight wolf soul and my alpha blood are a perfect match. Liam, I interrupted him. Do you know how the spiritual link between fated mates is broken? He froze. It happens when one side is so completely disappointed, they no longer hold any expectations for the other. I said, standing up. The moment your wolf chose Clara, the fated bond between us began to fade. Besides, I looked at him coldly. Have you forgotten? I already gave you 99 chances. You were the one who gave them up. No. Liam grabbed my hand, his eyes red. I was just blinded by that bitch Clara. Please, Regina, forgive me. I can feel your wolf soul. It's stronger than ever. We're truly meant to be. That has nothing to do with you, Liam. My wolf soul is stronger because I've finally found true freedom. I pulled my hand away and walked to the window. It's no longer shackled to a traditional mate bond, so it's become purer, more powerful. The Parisian nightscape unfolded before us, the Seine shimmering under the moonlight. I'm happy here, Liam, I said softly. There are no pack politics, no alpha rivalries, no constraints of being a Luna. My wolf soul and I have both been truly liberated. But you're a werewolf, he argued. You need a pack, you need a mate. What I need is the right to choose, I said, turning to face him. For the past 3 months, for the first time in my life, I've felt what it means to be truly alive. And so has my wolf soul. Liam's face grew paler. Regina, please just give me one last chance. I'll prove. Prove what? I stared at him. That you can be as devoted as Fabian? Or that you're finally willing to give me the time of day? Forget it, I said, walking toward the door. It's getting late, and I need to rest. Anna will see you out. Regina, he called after me. Is there really no chance for us? I paused at the door without turning back. Liam, thank you for helping me understand something important. What? The greatest tragedy for a she-wolf isn't being unloved, but building her worth on someone else's love. I pushed the door open. Now I finally understand that my wolf soul and I don't need anyone to define our value. The door closed, shutting out Liam's weak, regretful pleas. I sat back down at my design table and continued my unfinished work. A necklace, designed for myself, set with a single, pure moonstone. A treasure that belonged only to me. On Christmas Day, the North American continent was blanketed by a blizzard. I had returned to the States to handle some family matters left by my father. After 6 months away, everything here felt distant and unfamiliar. Miss, there's someone waiting for you outside, the butler said, his voice trembling slightly. He's been there since last night. I looked through the window. In the swirling snow, a familiar figure was curled up on the front steps. Fabian. He was wearing thin clothes, his hair and eyebrows crusted with ice, but he sat there stubbornly. I thought I would be disgusted to see him again, or that I would feel grief for the pup I had lost. But now all I felt was peace. I gestured for the butler to let him in, curious to see what else he could possibly have to say. When Fabian entered the living room, he was unsteady on his feet, his face deathly pale. His former alpha presence was gone. He looked like a homeless man. You've lost weight, I said, pouring him a cup of hot tea. You're still so beautiful. His voice was hoarse. Even more beautiful than in the pictures from Paris. Your wolf soul, it's stronger than before. A free wolf soul is always stronger. Regina, I was wrong, he said, his voice almost a plea. I know nothing I say can make up for it, but I have to tell you. I love you. I really, truly love you. Love me, I chuckled softly. Or love my wolf soul. Or maybe you just love the thrill of controlling me. No. He looked up sharply, his eyes bloodshot. Clara was just a momentary confusion. She cried and said she couldn't live without a wolf soul, and I felt sorry for her. But my feelings for you were real. Fabian, do you even know what real love is? He froze. Real love is respect, I said calmly. Respect for the other person's choices, their dignity, and their life. I respected you. You planned to strip me of my wolf soul and turn me into a cripple. You call that respect? My voice remained calm, but every word was a knife. You led me, pregnant with your child, into a death trap. You call that love? Fabian completely fell apart. I know I deserve to die. He knelt before me. But Regina, I can't live without you. For the past 6 months, I've regretted it every single day. I've thought about you every single day. And did you think about the child? His face went white. Our child, who will never be born because of your scheme. I looked at him. When you think of me, do you ever think of that innocent life? I'm sorry. Tears streamed down his face. I'm so sorry. Apologies are meaningless, I said, standing up. It's all in the past. Regina, please, give me one more chance. He grabbed my hand. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you, protecting you. Fabian. I gently pulled my hand away, feeling the calm, powerful pulse of my moonlight wolf soul within me. Thank you for your companionship. What? If it weren't for your betrayal, I would never have known how strong I truly am, I said, walking to the door. If it weren't for your scheme, I would never have found true freedom. Are you mocking me? No, I'm thanking you, I said, looking back at him. You forced my wolf soul to fully awaken. Now, it answers only to my will, no longer bound by anyone's expectations. Fabian's eyes went wide. He could feel the powerful presence emanating from me, the aura of a wolf soul that was completely its own master. So, goodbye, Fabian. I opened the door. The blizzard outside was even heavier. Regina, he chased after me. You can't just leave like this. We have nothing, I said without looking back. The power of my moonlight wolf soul formed a protective barrier around me, and the snowflakes couldn't touch me. The moment you decided you wanted me dead, we had nothing. I got into the car, and the driver started the engine. In the rearview mirror, I saw Fabian kneeling in the snow, a desperate, lonely ghost. But I would never feel pity for him again. Arriving at the werewolf healing center, I turned to the butler. How is my father's health? The master is doing well, the butler said, handing me a file. He asked me to give this to you. I opened the file. It contained a series of investigation reports. On Clara. After being exiled to the borderlands, she had a complete mental breakdown, unable to cope with life without a pack. She was now living in a human psychiatric hospital, muttering to herself every day about needing a wolf soul, needing power. Ironically, she had lost any chance of ever getting one. On Liam. For abandoning his fated mate, his alpha power was steadily declining. His family, completely disappointed, had begun grooming other heirs. He had become a pariah in his own family. On Fabian. His pack's reputation was in tatters due to the scandal, and their influence had plummeted. His family was consumed by internal power struggles, and he had lost most of his authority, reduced to a puppet. There is one more thing, the butler said hesitantly. Go on. Mr. Morris's mother came by. She said that if you were willing to forgive Fabian, she would offer you $1 billion as compensation. $1 billion. In exchange for my forgiveness. I sneered. Tell her my forgiveness isn't for sale. They can have it for free, I said, closing the file. But my trust? That's a price they can never afford. There is also a letter, the butler said, handing me an exquisite envelope. An invitation from the European Wolf Council. I opened it. Dear Miss Moon, in light of your outstanding contributions to the arts and the unique power of your moonlight wolf soul, we cordially invite you to join the European Wolf Council as the ambassador for culture and arts. It was an unprecedented honor. A she-wolf with no alpha mate and no powerful pack backing her had earned the recognition of the entire European werewolf community through her own talent and strength. This was my rebirth.